This isn't awkward at all.
No, not yet.
Kaplowitz was complaining that I was sitting up too high.
Yeah, it told us to be shorter than
I found this chair down the hallway, and it's just a desk chair with no back, and it won't lower down anymore. So I can deal with it. Welcome to the AfterBuzz. We are live, right?
We are live.
Oh, I don't have my laptop. Anyway, so you just gotta
I'll
hit
feed
me
you
up with chat
questions.
stuff.
I got
Joined by the one and only Steve Kaplowitz from 600 ESPN El Paso.
Good morning.
And Frank Austin from the YouTube chat. Our first YouTube chat visitor, guest on the AfterBuzz.
This is true. You're history. You've made history, man.
And he is also, we can call him our #1 draft pick because he is also the guy who is running the chat room fantasy football league.
That's right.
So before we get into other football talk, do you want to go over how many spots we got open, stuff like that, like what we're looking at with the fantasy football league?
Yes, I think we have 4 or 5 spots left. They're all YouTube chatters for the most part. We're trying to actually, one of the main reasons I want to be here is to try to recruit this guy to join our league. Everyone wants a chance to
take down the cap.
So I brought you some of these to see if it'll kind of entice you to join us. They're mint straight out of I opened the 1990s packs myself to give them to you.
Now let me preface this by saying that I have boxes of these collecting dust for the last 30 years because they're not even worth the cardboard they're printed on.
That's true.
Not all of them.
A 1989 Donruss Andres Galarraga is actually a very cool card. Ricky Henderson telling everybody he's the greatest of all time.
He's always holding up the base
That's
after
right.
breaking the record.
Bip Roberts, for those of you Padres fans who remember what the 87 tops with the wood finish used to look like, those are cool cards.
I remember that was the first pack of cards I ever got was the ones that had the wood finish on it.
Those are cool. The late, great Tony Gwynn.
Still getting
awesome.
paid.
Yep, that's right. From Leaf. This is the 1991 Leaf set. Mike Blowers. Nobody remembers him. He was another failed Yankee prospect from the late 80s, early 90s. Reggie Sanders, very nice. Greg Swindell. We've got Jose Uribe. That's not Juan Uribe, who's still playing, and he's like 90. This was Jose Uribe, who played for the Giants in the late 80s. Mark Lewis, Harold Reynolds, Bobby Thigpen. But you gave me every comment.
Mel Hall. Mel Hall's doing time, dude.
Really?
This guy, we found this out. Like, there's an old show I did where we did a thing called the GOAT list, which was the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And which we're going to get into why my nickname's GOAT later on. Somebody brought that up during the show. But one of them was, it was right when Aaron Hernandez got busted for the double murder. And so we were going through the greatest of all time athlete criminals. And Mel Hall was on the list. I don't exactly remember what it was for, but it was really fucked up.
Ray Caruth.
It sounds like it.
Ray Caruth was #1.
Yep.
By the way, thank you for bringing a Stadium Club card. For those of you that ever collected baseball cards, you'll remember that Top Stadium Club ruined the hobby because what happened was that they printed them on photo paper, and essentially you had to pay about $5 for a pack of these things, and there was like 5 or 6 cards in the pack. So it jacked up the cost of every baseball card, and everybody had to do these ultra high photo gloss cards as a result. So you didn't bring one card that actually has value.
None of them do. It's the junk
This is the biggest collection of shit I've seen in a long time, and it's all here.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
God,
you got a Ricky
bringing shit to people's lives.
You would think if you're going to try to entice a Mets fan, you'd at least bring a Mets card. You haven't bring a Mets card. My goodness, a Yankees card.
You sound like my wife, man. Always complaining.
Unbelievable. Well, thank you. This is going to do nothing to try to get me to play, but I appreciate you at least bringing the cards.
When I was a kid,
I'll try to get him to play.
When I was a kid, I collected, I don't know why, for a very short while, I collected football cards instead of baseball cards because I was a loser.
I have all of them. I got boxes of.
And I've actually got an incredible
Star Wars. Wow.
Loaded.
Mint, brand new opened. I threw a one for sure rare card in there. I opened this pack is from like '98 or something. Open it to bring to you guys.
Those are cool.
Yes,
now,
sir.
if you have the original '77 Star Wars top set, that is worth some serious.
I have like 7
Dude,
or
are
8
you just here to
cards.
poke holes in the shit that he brought, man?
No, that's great. Good for him.
Anyway, let me finish my story. I had a.
Why am I here?
Steve's getting pissed. Scott's getting upset.
I had a Deion Sanders rookie card misprint. It was like half whatever, and my sister got a hold of it. She's like, "Oh, this card's all messed up," and threw it away. I don't know what that's worth now, but
I looked that up.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't want to look that up.
Look it up.
Why?
No,
Yeah.
because
No way. No way. I don't want to.
No, because they could be like, "Hey, so remember the card that you crushed up? You owe me $10,000."
Yeah, exactly, you bitch. Okay.
No, I have boxes of baseball, football, and basketball cards just sitting up in the, my old bedroom at my mom's house and just sitting there.
I got a big stack. Yeah, I got some too. All right.
Some were worth money, some were not. So, but
why is Kaplowitz here today?
Kaplowitz is here to talk about fantasy football, as is Frank, since he's the one running the chat room league. And Kaplowitz and I are doing a gig tomorrow at Angry Owl, 6:30 to 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Basically going to give some fantasy football advice, and it's a pretty good deal for $15.
It is for $15. First off, when you get upstairs to the Nest, which is the upstairs area that we're going to be hosting this thing tomorrow at the Owl, there's going to be appetizers. So as soon as you get up there, you'll be able to get some munchies to get started. So for the $15, you not only get the appetizers, you get any burger on their menu and any beer on their menu. They've got a ton of craft beer that's on draft, so you can enjoy the burger and beer with the apps. You're going to also get an Angry Owl pint glass. We're going to be giving away some cool stuff from Miller Lite, Coors Light, and the Owl as well. They're going to be Miller Lite and Coors Lights on special all night long, $3 pints all night long. And really, this is just to talk fantasy football. So rankings, sleepers, busts, rookies. I mean, this is what it's going to be all about. We want to just help you win your leagues and really try to talk some football with you, answer any questions, and want to invite everybody to come out because this is going to be really cool.
All right, so to start off fantasy football, how many years have you been playing?
Probably, I don't know, 20, 25.
So it was before the internet made it so easy to start a league, keep up with the league. Because I didn't get into it until like ESPN.com had a league, so it was easier to do.
When we first got into this league, we would actually hand collate stats every week. And
was it one guy that had to like write down like every Tuesday after the Monday Night Football game, these are the points, and then basically send out a fax to everybody that was like, hey.
It was a lot of work. Let's put it that way. In those days, it was a lot. Before the computers took over, I mean, yet there was really a labor of love for doing this because the commissioners now, all you got to do is just set it on autopilot on the computer.
That's pretty much what I've done at this point.
Whereas if you're a commissioner then, it was tons of stats and work and everything else.
So it was kind of like the ending of the series, The League, is that they get booted from their website, so they have to actually go through and add up all the stats themselves for the final few weeks. All right, so you've been playing for about 20 to 25 years. What's the most leagues you've been in 1 year?
I don't know, about 4 or 5.
Jesus Christ, I thought I was bad. How many times have you won?
Well, over the years, I've probably won maybe half a dozen times. I mean, I think the most money I ever won was about $1,000, which was nice because we've never really put in more than 150, 200 in a league. So you win $1,000, 5 times your entry fee. You're pretty excited about that.
8, 10, 12 team league. Which one do you prefer?
Look, I like 12 because I want it to get a little tougher. Because if you have 8
the waiver wire is a little bit thinner at 12.
8 teams, everybody's got an all-star team. You want to go a little deeper into that to make people have to work a little bit to try to get. Now, but I've played in leagues. I played in one league that actually requires salaries, salary caps, contracts. It's a keeper league, and it involves defensive players as well as offensive players. So you draft defensive linemen, you draft linebackers, you draft corners.
And you go based on like sacks, tackles, interceptions.
Exactly. So tackles are huge. Picks are big. Fumble recoveries are big. Defensive touchdowns are big. That league actually was so deep, we didn't play with kickers because we had about 16 teams in the league. So technically, every team couldn't always have a starter and a backup kicker like you could other positions. So we blew off kickers and we just did defensive players with offensive players on that. So that was probably the most fun I've had because it was the most realistic to actually being a GM of an actual football team.
You're like Jerry Jones.
A smart version of Jerry Jones.
All right. Again, when and what time?
Okay. So tomorrow, 6:30 to 9 o'clock, Angry Owl Grill, 4799 North Mesa. It's going to be, we've never done this before. And Brandon and I, we've never really worked together off the radio. So this is going to be fun. You're going to meet both of us. It's only $15. You're going to get the burger, the beer, the appetizers, the pint glass.
You immediately get a meal with beer for $15.
Exactly. And better yet.
Now it's just whether or not you can sit in a room with us two talking for 3 hours.
It's tough, and it's only been 10 minutes.
Here's what I want to do with this. I want this to be something that becomes so much fun that it is an annual event that people really look forward to. They mark their calendar and they say, hey, we got to be there for fantasy football night because that's going to be the night of the year. That's what I want.
I think it's going to be a ton of fun.
I think so, too.
All right, so Frank,
yes, sir.
You yourself, how long have you been playing fantasy?
This will be my sixth year. My first year actually I won maybe because I didn't overthink it. I just went through it and I picked.
That's usually kind of what will happen is you get the new person who
Just plays, yeah.
Most leagues I'm in, if somebody's new, chances are they put it together a pretty good team. Not me. First year I ever played, I started out the season 0-10.
Wow.
Did you really?
Oh, it was awful. Awful.
Yeah, and then every year, so I got first, second, third, fourth. Last year I got fifth. So
Oh,
I went 1, 2,
Jesus.
3, 4, 5.
You know, just slide
Straight
down
up,
that
yeah.
slope,
So
man.
I'm probably get sixth this year, but there's hope for all the new players that are joining us. Just starting up this year. I had a buddy, I said, hey, you want to join our league? And he was like, I've never played before, but put me down for the Bengals. And I was like, you guys need to go to this seminar with these guys, man. But I'm not putting you down for anything.
What, like you want the Bengals D first round?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Okay, so you've been playing for about 6 years. You won the first one. What's the most leagues you've ever been in 1 year?
Just one.
Just one league?
Just one league, yeah.
You know what's the worst? The worst is when you have somebody that auto drafts
Yes.
and they outpick you. When the damn computer selects the team and you're actually spending time while somebody else is auto drafting, and you look at the roster and go, what the hell is going on?
There was a guy, remember, I think it was 2 years ago. Remember when Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell just had monster seasons?
2 years ago.
This guy auto drafted it.
Oh,
And he had them both. But you know what? He didn't win the whole thing.
well, that's good.
No, I beat him in the first round of the playoffs.
Boy, good for you.
They say running backs first round. You guys agree with that theory or
This year? No.
no?
It's
Not
changing.
necessarily.
It
Yeah.
used to be so it used to be really running backs, quarterbacks, and then the top receivers are always like third on the totem pole. But now receivers have become the in thing
Yes.
because of so many teams utilizing multi-back sets and not seeing the workhorse running backs
Yeah.
like we've had in years past. So receivers have become suddenly the top, really the top picks for a lot of people right
Yep.
now.
Calvin Johnson, Megatron, he was number one for a long time. Man.
So that's why
Absolutely.
I printed this out really quick. And we'll jump off the fantasy football topic here in a couple of minutes because Steve's got to go and we want to save a lot of this for tomorrow night as well.
Yes.
Is there a question, Scott?
Yeah, we do have a question for Cappy. You on the Dak bandwagon? I'll listen to your answer off the air, says
very
Rick.
nice. I feel like I'm back doing the show. Look, it's 2 weeks of the preseason. All right, preseason doesn't mean anything. But if you're a Cowboys fan,
He's got something to be excited about.
Here's what it means. It means you might not have to go out and spend crazy money to bring in a veteran starting quarterback that's going to suck when Tony Romo gets hurt.
Brandon Weeden.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly right. You can go down the list and look at all the different.
Playing for
Cowboy.
Tony Romo and you get hurt.
Yeah, I mean you had Castle last year, and
Which
that was a
Tony
disaster.
Romo fucked me over big time in the playoffs one year. All I needed was 4 points from him. He was the last guy to play.
4 points.
And it was when he, like one of the first throws of the game, one of his linemen backed into him and he broke his fucking thumb on the back of the guy's helmet and left with 1 point. And I lost by 3.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Now that's fantasy.
At that
football.
point, I'm
That's
yelling at
fantasy.
the TV, just fucking put him in and have him throw left-handed for 20 yards, 30 yards. Just that's it.
Now,
no.
back to Dak Prescott. I like him. I mean, he's looked great so far with the first unit. And it tells you that if and when Tony Romo does get hurt, you've got a 4th-round pick that actually could be the future for this football team. So, yeah, do I want to just say jump on the Dak Prescott bandwagon yet? Maybe not, but do I feel better about Dak than Michael Vick, who's not even quarterbacking right now and looking for a job?
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so final thing on fantasy football, because we brought up the wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. I found it funny. There's been people I've been telling for years, don't draft a quarterback in the first round.
This is Cam Newton.
And everybody's like, oh, well, but they score the most points. Yeah, but the difference between the number 1 quarterback and the number 20 quarterback is significantly smaller than the number 1 running back and the number 20 running back, or the number 1 wide receiver and the number 20 wide receiver. That's why you need to get those top tier guys. And so even like this is for PPR, and even on standard rankings, the top guys are wide receivers. Antonio Brown's the top guy. Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., DeAndre Hopkins. So final question about fantasy football before Steve leaves. You have the number 1 pick. Who are you taking?
Right now, I'm taking Antonio Brown.
Le'Veon Bell. I'll take him.
The reason,
Even
the
with the
reason
suspension.
now here's why I go Antonio Brown, because he's good for at least about 12 to 1,500 yards a year.
And
he's
standard
good for-
or PPR, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, and he's going to give you probably double-digit touchdowns. And they throw the ball so much in that Pittsburgh Steelers offense that Antonio Brown is as good as gold right
And
now.
isn't Martavis Bryant out too? So
He is.
for
He's
the
out for the
whole
whole
year?
year. He's out for the whole year. So
Yeah, he got
Brown-
suspended for the whole season.
Brown's
so.
going to be, a guy that they target time after time after time. But what you want to look for is you want to look for guys in these crazy high-powered offenses where they put the ball in the air all the time.
Yeah.
But for running backs, it's scary because for every running back you draft, they're one injury away from
Yes.
being out. And that's
Jamal Thanks a lot, dude.
I
Happens
talked
every
early last
year.
He was out.
Ugh.
Had
It
an
happens
amazing season.
every year. But if you're looking at keepers in a keeper league where you get to keep 1 to 2 guys every year, then maybe a franchise running back really does make a lot of sense.
Like an
because,
Ezekiel Elliott.
yeah, you know you're going to keep him for a while. Or now, one of the biggest picks is David Johnson of Arizona.
Yeah, he's the first one coming up
Unbelievable.
down
I mean,
here. Or Todd Gurley.
They
Todd
love
Gurley
David
had
Johnson.
him last year. He did really well for him.
That's what you want. So that's really, I think, the key right now.
If you don't make it to the Angry Owl tomorrow night, Carnivore Eats has a great idea, and I quote, "I think you pick players who you think will do good in the games."
Oh,
I think that's
the best goddamn advice I've ever heard.
That's phenomenal.
Yes.
Carnivore he's right.
And I believe he's also a Patriots fan, so good work.
But if your name is Carnivore Eats, how are you not at Angry Owl Grill tomorrow from 6:30?
Maybe he is. He didn't say
Yeah,
necessarily.
no,
he
yeah,
wasn't
just extra tips for free. from
All I can
Carnivore.
tell you is this: it's going to be a great night at the Owl. We're going to have a blast, and just between the three of us alone, you know it's going to be fun. And we want you to be there, have a good time, ask questions. And hey, we're just gonna talk football for 2.5 hours.
It's going to fly by because there's already like 10,000 things that I want to keep talking about. But
Good.
Steve's got to go, and we got to end fantasy football talks. We get to other things.
guys.
Mr. Kaplowitz.
Great, Frank. Good to meet you, man.
Yes, sir.
And all kidding aside, awesome cards. I can't tell you how much anybody that collects cards, I'm a big fan of because big part of my childhood.
Yeah.
Happy you're doing it, man. And you brought back some oldies but goodies, so keep that up.
Mel
Yes, sir.
Hall.
Thanks, man.
Oh, by the way, we came up with a nickname for you and your brothers.
What's that?
Kaplowitz.
The Kaplowitz.
The
Nice.
Kaplowitz.
Yeah.
Good.
Actually, Rick thinks you all look like brothers sitting here on the.
Really?
Yeah.
We're all-
Interesting.
He's also impressed with Frank so far. You're doing a good job.
Good. He is doing a good
Thanks,
job.
Rick. Rick, he told me to shout out to him. I appreciate it, man. I saw something. He said that I need to be
Thanks,
checked.
Steve.
I look like
You're welcome.
I carry heat, or he said I look like I'm hacking or something.
Yeah. All right. Move on in a little there,
All
Frank.
right, is this in the way?
You guys scooch over here.
Is that down?
There we go. All right.
All right, so I need to flip this over because I could literally keep talking fantasy
going
football. Like I've
forever.
been so far behind. I just set up my league this past weekend. I haven't even sent an email out to everybody. And yesterday was the first day I started really looking into it and kind of doing some research. And it's the first time I ever bought an app for my iPad. Like I bought the RotoWire one to kind of help with the draft and keep up to date on things. And I did it last night, and like bedtime came and went. And I'm like, fuck, I got to put this down. Like that's how addicted I get to it.
I'm
So
like that too. All season long, my wife, she's probably watching. What's up, Jessica? She hates football season, man. She hates fantasy football. I'm always like screaming at the TV. I'm like, just join the league. She's gonna come with us tomorrow. She's coming with me to Angry Owl tomorrow to see you guys. And I'm gonna try to get her in on it too, man.
All right. Head into the chat. Carolyn Williams is sitting in the back of her finance class, not paying attention, watching the show.
atta girl.
I think that's education right there. Smegma is constipated right now, so
Good to
glad
know.
we've got all that. And Cool Guy wants you to raise the mic. I think he likes the
That was me.
phallic symbol thing going on there.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. So,
Any other questions from the chat?
not yet. Actually, Lorena was hanging out, but she had to leave. But she did want to hear the goat story, so now you owe it. Now you owe the goat
I was going to
story.
wait until the end for the goats.
Well, she's
Should I-
gone. She's gone now,
Is it
so
from
it
the
doesn't
movie
really
Radio
matter.
by
but-
chance?
No,
No?
it's long before.
Different goat?
Here's the thing: so really quickly here, I want to ask Frank a few questions. But so like in the chat, people were commenting about how I'm branded now, and goat must have been a Florida thing when I was in Florida. It goes long before Florida. Like I had the nickname probably almost 5 to 6 years before I even got into radio. So, but we'll get to that down the road. Now, on this note, Frank,
Yes, sir.
how long have you been in El Paso?
2010, I got here. I was in the Army, and Fort Bliss was my last duty station. So I met my wife, and I stayed here and got some kids, and here we go, man. I've been here for, I guess that's 6 years, man. About 6 years.
How many kids? 2, 3?
2 kids. Yep,
And
son
you enjoying El Paso then? I take
yeah,
it you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. I like it. A lot of her family's here. Well, most of her family's here, and I'm from North Carolina originally. That's why I'm a Panthers fan. Rep your city and all that.
I forgot you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I'm not the bandwagon guy. There's a lot of people that like I see Carolina hats and brand new Panthers.
And they got it last
jerseys
year.
on. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, he's like, I'm the only
Patriot
fan in
fans
El
went through the
Paso.
same thing in the early
bandwagon.
2000s where everybody thought it was all
They're
bandwagon.
still going through it now, man, because you guys are so good. And then they try to come up with excuses as to why, they must be cheating on this or they're cheating on that. Deflategate. Really?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well,
Cool Guy wants to know what you do, Frank.
I actually teach kids MMA, man, at Gorilla MMA and Fitness in Solomon Park. Yeah, just kids. I'm not good enough for the adult class.
But you have adult classes there, right?
Oh yeah, there's pro fighters. There's a lot of guys. Actually, there's a dude, Daryl Schoonover. He was on.
Oh yeah,
Fighter. Yeah,
it's what I don't want to really say it because.
Yeah, don't say it.
Yeah, I want to say the nickname that he was dubbed.
No.
But I remember he had big beef with Rampage Jackson.
Rampage Jackson, and he was not scared of Rampage. And Daryl is a beast, dude. He's a big dude.
And so he's still training. He's still
doing
it.
Dude, he's probably 265, 270, but faster than I am, dude. This guy, he is nasty. But Isaac Nunez runs the gym. It's a great place, man. My daughter takes class. Excellent vibes.
Joshua asks, Goat, did you want to hear more about the prison pizza? You want to know more about the prison pizza?
Yeah, what the fuck was going on there, man? Like, let me know what it specifically it is, like what it consists of. And like, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but the chat ended up just getting like, it was all about prison stories because we got on the topic of how ramen has become worth more than cigarettes as far as currency goes inside prison.
Wow.
And for the reason is because of cutbacks, meals have gotten smaller, they've gotten worse, and a lot of the guys are active. And since you're active, you need, to have the calories and the carbs, and ramen has that kind of stuff. So I think the article that I read, I posted this up at buzzadamshow.com, that I want to say it's like 59 cents. And I've been basing this on the article. I've never personally been to jail, knock on wood, thank God. But it's like 59 cents for a package of ramen. And they were saying like you could trade it for things that are worth like over $10 because that's how valued it is inside. So next time you look at Top Ramen, be like, hey, take that and, start trading some shit.
Carlos says prison pizza is ramen noodles crunched, then Fritos crushed, and squeezed cheese.
Also sounds like munchie.
So it's all just kind of crunchy. I knew a guy that kind of ate something like that that I played football with in high school. He would take ramen and he would just open up the one side and he would shake in the powder and then he would just crunch it all up together and then he ate it dry. I tried doing that once. I got so fucking sick.
Oh, there's no way.
Like I had just these horrible stomach pains, and I have no idea how this dude did it. He did it like every day.
That's crazy. Yeah, we had wrestlers do that, but when we wrestled in high school, they did that for some reason. Like they thought it would keep the weight. Not adding water would keep weight off of them for some reason. So they would just munch it like that too. But maybe your stomach hurt, like how we're not allowed to feed birds rice anymore at weddings.
Yeah.
Maybe just started like swelling in your stomach.
I think it probably did.
Josh says 20 or 30 ramen soups, Jack, Mac, or really as many meat products as possible, and gravy in its best form from the dining facility, cooked in the shape of a pizza with sauces off commissary.
Jeez Louise.
It ends up tasting a lot like pizza. Carlos says it's pretty good, actually. He may be referring to what you guys were talking about earlier.
One thing I got to tell you is that when you're locked up, you get creative as hell. Like I had a guy send me a letter one time because he listened to the station, and he had drawn me this picture. And the way he described it, the way he actually colored it, is he'd take M&Ms and he would melt the M&M colors, and then that was what he used as paint.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I still have it somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, when you got that much time on your hands,
Yeah.
Carolyn asks, fave college team, don't say UTEP.
Don't say UTEP. What's your favorite college
Tar
team?
Heels, UNC.
Yeah, coming from Carolina. So you grew up in Charlotte? Or
That's out of Raleigh, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlotte's where the Panthers are at. Right there in Raleigh, actually, I'm sure you know, but you got the triangle. You got Duke, you got UNC, and you got NC State. And it's all right there, the big basketball triangle. Yeah, Tobacco Road, man. They're all like 20 minutes, 15 minutes apart from each other. So I ended up going for Carolina. My dad was a State guy. I guess we're a little closer to Raleigh, but I just wanted to go against him. And, like typical guy, go against your pops and pick a different team. But, yeah, UNC. Who's your team, man?
Oregon Ducks.
Nice.
And I grew up in Oregon. Growing up, I never really, when you go to certain areas, especially like if you're in Alabama, you're either Roll Tide or War Eagle. No ground.
That's it.
In Oregon, it was different. Even though they called it the Civil War, at least growing up, because I never knew anybody that went to the University of Oregon or Oregon State University. So I liked them both. So whoever it was that was doing good, I would root for them because I wanted a team from Oregon to do well. But then I kind of moved my allegiance when I got my first radio job because one of our sister stations would be like here with 600 ESPN El Paso. We had an ESPN affiliate that ran the Duck games. So when the Oregon Ducks football team and basketball team are dependent, like they affect your revenue and how much money you're making, you root for that team.
Yeah.
So then that's kind of, and I was there right before they got really good with Chip Kelly. Like I was there at the very end of the Bilotti years with, oh God, I'm blanking on his name, but he was a complete dick. Shit, he ended up playing for the Jets for a while. He was a backup quarterback. He was a quarterback. I'll figure it out. I don't know.
I'm from Louisiana. Fuck LSU. Fuck LSU.
Who is your team then? Jesus.
I don't have one. I'm not big into college football, but
but apparently you hate LSU.
Because everybody, because they won that first championship, and before that, nobody ever watched an LSU game, right? Nobody. It was just like not something you did on Saturday. Then suddenly they won that first national championship, and suddenly it was like, oh, like a rare flower that hasn't bloomed in like 50 fucking years. Everybody's on the LSU bandwagon. It's like, what the fuck? You guys didn't even know what the mascot was 3 years ago, and now it's like, oh, I've got to have this on my truck, and my child has to wear purple and gold. Like, fuck LSU.
The one thing I got to give LSU credit for, Kellen Clemens, by the way, is the guy that I was talking about. That guy was a dick. Anytime he came into the station, he just thought he was holier than thou. We're like, dude, you're 500, man. Like, come on,
calm it down.
One thing I got to give LSU credit for, though, their midfield logo is the shit.
Yeah.
The way that it's painted on there, it's cool. It looks awesome. I don't like LSU, but I can respect the program.
Respect the colors, pretty colors, right? Pretty designs. You know about that, right?
And I do, and even with Oregon being a flashy team that has like different uniforms every single game, I do respect and I enjoy programs, even though I hate Nick Saban, like Alabama, that have that like traditional uniforms where it's the same. Like,
why hate Nick Saban?
It's been the same thing. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like when he coached Miami was when I first moved to Miami. And I hate the Dolphins, so I should like him for what he did,
right?
But I don't like liars. And he came out to the media consistently about how, no, I'm not going to be the next Alabama head coach. No, I'm not going to be the next Alabama head coach. No, I'm not going to be the next Alabama head coach. Hey, by the way, I'm taking the head coaching job at Alabama.
And I'll be there for
and he fucking bailed.
Time,
yeah. But then the other thing, you got to give credit. He's the best goddamn college football coach.
Oh, he's amazing.
Hands down.
Yeah, he's like the Bill Belichick of college football.
Which is why I should like the guy more, because he's like the coach of my favorite football team.
And everyone in Louisiana is still butthurt.
Oh,
even after all these years, like they hate him. But of course, if he came back, they love him.
Well, of course.
Like LeBron James, everyone hated him when he went to Miami, right? But they're like, oh,
once he comes back,
win his
everybody's slobbing his knob.
That's it.
All right, what are the questions? Okay, so you said you grew up in North Carolina.
Yes.
You were in the Army.
I was in the Army. I was in the infantry. I carried a big machine gun, and I have really bad back problems now because of it.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
So were there any other stops in there? Like North Carolina, did you move somewhere else, or?
I was in South Korea for a year. That was pretty cool. And it actually, on my release papers of the Korean War, because it never ended. It's just
that's still going. Oh, there you go.
So I got like the Korean War, service ribbon and all that stuff. Isn't that nuts?
So Frank was a part of MASH.
MASH. Is that what that was?
I believe it was the Korean War.
Wow. There was always a crazy guy.
You want to talk about like the theme song with the most horrible name ever?
Suicide is Painless.
Yeah.
What?
That's the name of the theme song to MASH. Suicide is Painless.
It's fucking
how
awesome.
Messed up is that?
And the lyrics are kind of messed up too. But yeah.
So you did a year in South Korea.
Yeah.
And then when you came, did you go straight to El Paso, or?
Yeah, that was my. Well, I took about a month off, had leave, and then I came here to Fort Bliss, and I've been here ever since.
And you're not in the service?
Not anymore. No, I got out in 2011.
Okay.
Josh asks 4077? 4077?
I'm guessing that's for you.
I have no clue what that is.
He doesn't know.
Explain yourself, Josh.
Have you ever been to Bangkok? Carolyn wants to know.
Never been there, but everyone would ask me back in high school on our teams, but hey, what's the capital of Thailand? We'd say Bangkok. And they'd slap you in the face, right?
Same fucking thing.
Yep.
Constantly.
Nice.
I don't know why, but it was an entertaining thing to slap another guy in the dick in
Yeah,
the back of your
man.
hand. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just, and we wrestle too, so we're constantly, we're not clothed, we're weighing in. We just get really comfortable around each other, man. But there's no,
Josh says that's the MASH unit number. Oh, from the
nice,
show.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, we totally missed that.
Yeah, right over the head.
Josh is smarter than all of
I haven't
us.
seen an
Yes.
episode of MASH in God knows how.
Yeah. Is it on streaming somewhere? It's gotta be
MASH,
somewhere.
it's got to be
It's gotta be
somewhere.
somewhere.
And
Hallmark
before
channel.
we start to wrap things up and do some other stuff here, I got to look up what Mel Hall did, because the fact that you brought that card, it was a show I did in Florida. It was like just a weekly show I did with a buddy of mine. It was 1 hour long. We paid to be on the air,
Wow.
and it was this list where, you know, when I would pick the greatest of all time, it was always something different. It wasn't like just the greatest of all time baseball players.
Yeah.
And it was right when Aaron Hernandez was in that shit for the double murder.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to come up with the greatest of all time, meaning like worst of all time, actually.
Yeah.
Criminals that are athletes. And Mel Hall came up, and oh Jesus, SB Nation has a whole article called "The Many Crimes of Mel Hall."
Many crimes?
Goodness.
I want to say it was some really, really bad stuff too.
While you look that up, Eric drops in some lyrics for us. Suicide is painless. It brings on many changes, and I can take or leave it if I please without that ever-present hate. But now I know that it's too late.
Oh my God. Dude.
Yeah,
That's heavy, man.
I think of Alan Alda when I hear those words.
Alan Alda.
Diesel Rick also says a lot of Russian girls in South Korea.
There's a lot of Filipinas, and yes, Russians for sure. They had like one Russian bar outside of Post, so you know we had a curfew of midnight, so we'd go out there, and there's like, but because you're right there by Post, we're on the DMZ almost. There's like 60 or 70 bars right there, right as soon as you leave Post, and there was 1 or 2 of them that were known as like Russian bars. And basically all the girls that work there, they're called juicy girls. Basically, you can buy their nights off for like $350, and
you're in a good part of town
yeah.
when there's something called juicy girl.
Yeah, you buy them a little drink, and they sit there and talk to you for 20 minutes, and after that $20 drink is gone, they're like, "You want to keep talking to me? Like 20 more bucks?" Or
so it's basically like a strip club. Like when they come up and they ask to buy a drink.
Yeah,
they
but
just
it's
keep
a bar,
pumping you
and,
for.
and they have a contract. So basically, when they get there, this is the sex trade industry or whatever.
Yeah.
They get there, and the ajuma, or the owner of the bar, takes their passport and says, "Hey, you got a $5,000 contract you have to pay off. Buy drinks. You have to get these guys to buy you like $5,000 worth of drinks. Then we'll give you your passport back, and you can go back home to the Philippines."
Jesus,
that's indentured servitude.
Hell yeah.
Interesting.
It's no joke. It is no joke.
That almost puts to shame what Mel Hall did here. I found it because, and I forgot it was basically sexual assault of a child.
Oh my
is
God,
what it was.
That's number one. Ray Caruth.
Yeah, but wasn't Ray Caruth the one that was
He killed
attempted
his
murder
wife.
of his wife? Plus,
And
she was pregnant.
kid.
Yeah,
And they both died.
that one to me is hands down the worst. And there was a second victim was under the age of 14. Like, it didn't just happen once. It's kind of like Darren Sharper.
Dusky or whatever.
Yeah, and we were just talking about Darren Sharper too. I think it was former Saint. Who
Yeah.
he just got 18 years.
Yep,
Basically,
yeah.
Bill Cosby and chicks.
Good times.
Jesus. All right.
Diesel Rick asks Busan, South Korea.
That's down south, I think. Busan. I was in Tongducheon or Camp Casey. It's kind of like the northernmost.
Camp Casey sounds like a Nickelodeon show.
We act like a bunch of kids, a bunch of drunk kids, man.
That's only because I know what Camp Kikiwaka is now.
I don't know what I've heard of it.
It's
Was it Fraggle Rock or
it's
something
a
like that?
kid's show.
Oh, okay.
My
Was that
girlfriend- my
the
girlfriend's daughter watched?
what was it? Like salute your shorts?
Yes. Hey,
Yeah,
dude,
but-
salute your shorts.
Yeah, yeah.
Salute Shorts was dope.
Yeah, it was.
Camp
What-
Bonawanna,
That was it.
we
Oh,
hold
my
you in our heart, and when we think about you, it makes me wanna fart.
I don't want to sing on a one, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Damn, that was impressive. I'm glad we called that
But
on.
no, I learned what Camp Kikiwaka is by watching it with the girlfriend's daughter. It was entertaining.
Cool.
All right. So then, final thing, I guess, before we wrap up here, I'll get into the whole goat story.
You still with us, Lorena? She hadn't left.
Yeah, she can go. Oh, she hadn't. Okay,
Yeah,
so here you go.
we don't know if she's still here now.
Yeah, she must hear the story.
So basically, everybody knows, like, my last name is Coates, Coates. And when I think it was when I was a junior in high school, I had a photography class with a bunch of friends, one of which I'm still really good friends with. Like, he and I are texting all the time. He's a Ducks fan, a Patriots fan, a Blazers fan, all the fan I am. And he and I text back and forth frequently. And we had portfolios that, for your work. And the instructor had all of our names on our portfolios at the very beginning of class. She's like, these are your portfolios. Don't lose these. This is where you put your work, and this is where you turn things in at. And at the time, I would imitate the Adam Sandler goat all the time. the one,
I don't,
hey, like, what up your dukes? I'm like, I got fucking no dukes.
Oh,
No, from the audio, from the CDs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the goat in the back.
I thought you were
talking goat.
Jim Brewer. Jim
No.
Brewer's goat boy.
Adam Sandler's talking goat. I can't really do it as I used to.
Out of practice.
But I would imitate that. And so my buddy's sitting there. He sees my folder and he sees my name written on it. And he's like, Coates. And he takes the pen and he turns the C into a G. And he goes, goats. And I'm like, and for like the first month of class, the instructor didn't know who the fuck I was. She thought there was somebody named Brandon Goats in the class. And so it went from Brandon Goats to Goats and then just goat locked on probably within a few months. And it's been there ever since. So I had that nickname long before
waiting.
long before waiting, long before I was in radio. Like I remember like one of my first radio classes, everybody's trying to come up with funny, goofy, like, hey, this is what my on-air name's gonna be. I remember one kid came up, he wanted to be called Lincoln Log. I don't know where that came from, but I was sitting in front of him and I could hear him behind me in the middle of class and they're like giggling and they're writing down all the different names that they want to go by. And like the one dude starts laughing his ass off and he goes, Lincoln Log? So it kind of interrupted class a little bit, but I didn't need to because I already had that name.
You're listening to the log.
And
you're floating with the log.
Floating with the log. That's a good.
So anyway, so back it's been around for about 20 years now. And I've tried to tell people, like, when I'm back home, friends, nobody calls me Brandon. Like, this is one of the only areas anybody's ever called me that. So that's how it is. That's my Instagram. Let's go to Miss Prime.
I don't know why. I think it's just hilarious. The guy you're a goat now. Like, just like that, he just changed the whole course of your life.
He did.
Yeah. I love the guy to death. He's still one of my best friends. So that's the guy who did it.
It's good to know, though, if you have like like an alter ego. Like if you ever need to like fall off the face of the planet, you can be Brandon.
I thought about that
for
a few
while,
times.
Yeah.
And actually, I used to have. I still do somewhere, a bunch of audio from like rock stars and actors asking me how I got the nickname. And I just remember Dave Dreamin asking me from Disturbed, and he's like, we're setting up for an interview, and I was engineering the interview, I wasn't performing the interview. And so the guy that was, he's like, and here's Goat, he's our engineer for the day. And you hear Dave Dreamin just go, how did you become Goat? Like, and you can like hear like the little braise that he has. Like you can hear him like clanging it like a little bit. And I'm like, that's the scariest time anybody's ever asked me that. Like,
cool guy says good story, but you shall be known as B. Good day, sir. I said good day.
You can call me B, you can call me Brandon. I don't care. As long as I know that you're referring to me, I'm perfectly okay with it.
Good times.
So anything else from the chat?
Not really.
Anything from you? Anything you want to talk about?
4 or 5 spots left in fantasy. That's it. And if you guys don't join, we'll probably try to get people at the Angry Owl to join us. We want to keep it to the chatters, but
yeah, we want to keep it exclusively to the people that we talk to frequently. And here's the thing: you don't need, like we were saying earlier, you don't need to know a ton when it comes to fantasy football. Generally, the people that it's their first year and they don't have a damn clue what they're doing do very well.
Yeah.
Except for me, who went 0-10. But I started to pick up
that
on
probably
it.
takes more talent to go 0-10.
It was bad. It was really bad. But that was also the year that Brady and Moss. It was the 07 season. So I've been playing about 9 years. It was the year that Brady and Moss broke all the records, and one guy had both of those fucking guys on his team. But yeah, so I've been playing for 9 years. Most leagues I've ever been in is 3. This year might beat that because I run a league. I'm in another league with a bunch of friends that's for money. We have the chat room league, and I might get suckered into one more. So I might be up to 4. And there was one year I was in 3 leagues. I almost won all 3 of them if I hadn't made a boneheaded move with like Mike Wallace. I still remember.
You benched him?
I still remember. Yeah, I benched him. He scored 2 touchdowns that day, and I lost by like 5 points. So, but anyway, yes. Tomorrow, if you want to come out, Angry Owl Grill. We're going to be there from 6:30 to 9 o'clock at night. And then if you want in on the fantasy, you can email me, and then I can forward your information to Frank. It's Brandon@BuzzAdamShow.com.
Just choose by the mascots because the lion can beat an eagle.
Yes, the Panthers have nice teams.
Patriots have guns, bitch.
Patriots
No.
have pistols.
Actually, this is a somewhat interesting story. So high school football back in Louisiana, there's a town called Crowley, and their mascot is the Gentleman, which is the worst mascot ever because it was like, like the lion's like, rah, like eagle's like, whatever. It's like the gentleman, what's he going to do? Like, stop. Or I shall say stop again. It's the worst mascot ever.
Ever?
Oh, you got a better one with the banana slugs. What is it?
Oh, there's
USC,
the
Santa Cruz.
like Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
I heard there's one here in El Paso that's the orange.
Oh yeah, somebody is the unicorn. I don't remember what it is though.
Magical things happen there.
I was the Cavaliers when I was in high school.
We're the Bengals. Both ferocious,
There you go. Anything else? Good?
I'm good.
Anything else from you?
I'm done.
Anything else from the chat?
Chat is good. They're just talking to Carlos is going to maybe leave work early and try to meet you guys. So now there you go.
I'll bet 20.
Santa Barbara. Eric corrects us. Santa Barbara is the.
I thought it was Santa Cruz.
Banana slugs.
But that's the T-shirt that.
Oh, the gentleman stabs you with a sword cane. That's interesting, Josh. Maybe
a sword cane.
There you go. But yeah, the banana slugs, wasn't that the shirt that either John Travolta or was it the one that he wore after they had to clean up all the blood?
Yes, indeed.
Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
That's great.
What is this? What? I dried my hands. I dried my hands too. When I was done drying them, it didn't look like a goddamn maxi pad. Fucking blood everywhere.
We should just do an episode of the AfterBuzz where we just quote movies for half an hour.
Have I told you that there's a buddy of mine, his wife, bet me and another friend that we couldn't have a 5-minute conversation without quoting anything. Couldn't quote a movie, couldn't quote a TV show. You know what we did for 5 minutes?
Didn't talk.
We didn't fucking talk.
Yeah.
Like I'm dead serious. Like because anytime somebody would start to say something, that's the first thing that pops into our head, and we just sat like, couldn't do it.
And my mom did that with musical lyrics.
Just
you'd say something to her, and she'd go off in a little song about whatever you're talking about every time. Same thing.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode of the I was gonna say the Angry Owl, but the AfterBuzz. So one more time, 6 to 9 tomorrow at the Angry Owl. If you want to do fantasy football,
and for $15, you get a ton of stuff. You're getting beer, you're getting food, appetizers.
Freaking delightful.
Frank's gonna show up with his wife.
That's right. She's beautiful.
Big thank you to Frank for showing up today.
Yeah, first one.
Hey, man, that's what I do. Thank you guys for having me.
And if anybody else in the chat ever has something that they want to come on the show and talk about,
we've been trying to push some people to come out, and I think that hopefully Frank has popped the cherry here, and people will be more likely to come in and sit on the
should. With us. I didn't do anything. I just sat here and talked about what I knew.
Yeah.
All right, children. Peace. We'll see you next week.